this week's key events. Let's start off with the UK. The GDP rising very modestly to 0.3%, in line with analyst expectations, only picking up marginally from 0.2%. But what we are seeing at the moment this year for the UK is a real slowdown in growth, which is not good, being attributed to one real key factor, and that's the fact of rising inflation, really overshooting. So what that is doing to the economy? Well, consumers are having to tighten up their pockets due to these rising prices and not stimulate growth, so it is being weighed upon by that, and also the higher import costs for the UK. In terms of this Q2 reading, weighed upon specifically by the manufacturing and construction sectors. Nevertheless, still seeing some good upside technically for cable or sterling dollar. Eyes are on 134.00, so do keep an eye on that. Across the Atlantic, over in the United States, we did see the Federal Reserve keep rates and policy unchanged as expected. What did carry quite a dovish tone, hence why we actually saw a sell-off in the dollar and its counterparts advancing against the greenback. Couple of things to note. One being they still see inflation remaining below their 2% target, and they did remove the wording this time, which was somewhat. So that was removed this time, so they clearly see it below that 2% mark. Well, as we know, inflation's extremely low, and there were some signs of deflation in certain categories of prices. So I'm glad they've actually realised that now, Will, but consequently that has been seen as dovish. And they also noted that in terms of the reduction in their balance sheet, they see that happening relatively soon. So analysts are forecasting for that to happen in September. Some were hoping a little bit earlier than that, hence also why we've seen the dollar come off. Looking elsewhere, over in Australia, the Aussie dollar did give back some of its gains after subdued inflation continues to remain a concern for Australia, coming in at 0.2% there. And elsewhere, we also saw the RBA Governor Lowe, who noted that he doesn't see any benefit of further interest rate cuts, but he did state in terms of Australia's counterparts, so other global central banks, in terms of following suit of them of raising rates and tightening policy, he's not in line with that at the moment. So essentially quite a neutral stance, hence why we've seen a bit of a pullback in Aussie dollar. What we could expect going forward is potentially for it to continue to give back some gains, but then trade range bound again, as we've seen previously over the last months, where it has been very tight in a 2-cent range pretty much, until we see any action from either the RBA or the Federal Reserve. Lastly, looking at some opportunities in the market, euro dollar, some great upside we're seeing there, flirting around 117 to the upside at the moment. Eyes are still firmly on 120 in the general call, so do keep an eye on that. And very lastly, dollar CAD, we did see a brief break below 125 to the downside. We're observing a little pullback at the moment as we have fallen quite a lot. As I mentioned, not too far, a 5% drop in dollar CAD, or loonie as we know it. So any pullback we see, look at that as potentially opportunities to sell and continue that move towards the 119 area. So other than that, that's it from me. I hope you've had a great trading week. Have a smashing weekend. Thank you.